There is so much happening in the world of esports and gaming. This is the wrap-up. Hello, I am Danny, and with me are Corey, also known as Vandy, with a background spanning over 4 years in esports commentating and the current stream manager for Legacy Esports, and Steph. You may also know her as Hex, gaming industry veteran from shows like Good Game, Screenplay, and her live streams on Twitch. Steph, let's start with you. Why do you think you are here at this table?
I just love talking about games. I think they're one of the most exciting and evolving mediums out there, and they've grown and matured to the point where there's literally something for everyone.
Vandy?
I just really want to share esports with the wider community. Same as Steph was saying, games being more traditional, more of the norm. Same too for esports. We're seeing a lot of gaps between traditional sports and esports.
So I'm here not because I've won a game of Fortnite, or PUBG for that matter. No chicken dinners for me, guys, but I have been talking about games since I first started working in the entertainment industry. On that note, let's kick things off with our first segment, Being Big. Been Big. It's a pretty simple concept. Every show, each of us picks our story on what's been big in the world of gaming or esports. Now, the first story we have to deal with is the Mixer news. Okay, this is huge. Microsoft has pulled the pin on Mixer, which is changing everything in streaming.
I mean, let's start with $20 million dropped to acquire Ninja, followed by $10 million to acquire Shroud. What was Microsoft's plan after sinking all that money into these streamers?
My heart just breaks for, all of those smaller streamers that really built communities on Mixer, particularly ones that have been streaming on it since it was called Beam. Some of that audience might follow them back to Twitch or onto a new platform, but they're basically starting from scratch, and they've got to be scarred by that.
And really quickly, do you think Ninja will go back to Twitch?
I mean, he said that he's going to weigh up his options, which I think basically means I'm going to see if someone's going to pay me more money to move somewhere else. But I can't see him going to Facebook. Facebook gaming, it just doesn't seem like an authentic home for gamers to me.
No, definitely not. Now, also in Being Big, you have been keeping your eye on the world of esports.
Yes, indeed. So especially with coronavirus impacting us in our day-to-day life, but that has also impacted esports, especially events. We have stuff like the Fortnite World Cup being cancelled. We have stuff like the Invitation that is confirmed to be cancelled. Yes, League of Legends has postponed cancelling World.
It's going to be cancelled.
It's gone.
Yeah, there's just no way it can go ahead, right?
It's just, I feel like in Australia we're hurt more than so many other parts of the world because our internet situation, the latency is such a big problem for competitive gamers. How can we possibly compete on the same scale? So I think it's going to hurt us more than most.
And we've definitely seen some actual sports moved into esports. Motorsports has been a huge example in Australia with the supercars and globally with F1 and NASCAR events. There was a really funny story about one of the professional NASCAR racers rage quitting, middle of the race, going, no, it's just bloody video games. And his sponsors dropped him because, if I quote them correctly, they're interested in racers, not in quitters. So it's a pretty interesting effect.
I support that.
I support it too.
You have like racers that have been like iRacing their whole lives and suddenly can drive a car on a track. And then you have like professional racers that are using iRacing to like actually train, and it's like the only one that actually has transferable skills in esports, and I think it's amazing.
Do you think that my playing of Tony Hawk Pro Skater will increase my ability to kickflip?
No. Are you using the console to skateboard with? Because maybe that's your problem.
Okay, I'll work on my kickflip in my own private time then. But stick around, we do have a pretty incredible interview with some of the greatest racers in Australia, if not the greatest racer in Australia. That a little bit later. But something else that's been big, a game I know that you froth over.
I really want to talk about The Last of Us Part 2. I loved the first one so much, and I'm so surprised by the controversy that has surrounded the sequel. I think there's a discussion around this kind of endemic, ownership fans have over IP that they really love. And there's people like petitioning for the endings to be changed, like the devs should be fired, the whole game is ruined, like everyone needs to be held accountable. It's just like, it's happened in Star Wars. People wanted the ending of Mass Effect 3 to be changed. I don't understand why people feel like they can just completely destroy the work developers have done, for 7+ years just because they've made artistic choices in a narrative that they didn't expect or agree with.
I 100% agree with you. Something that was really interesting to note is that on Metacritic, there was a bombardment of negative reviews, but within something like 7 or 8 hours of the release of the game.
Well, they were
that game takes some
specifically,
effort.
they were review bombing it. So
Yeah.
like all the critics, the Metacritic scores for critics was through the roof.
Well, it's definitely interesting, a look at that kind of game to see if those critiques will continue to come in positive.
I'm very sore about it.
From the professionals, but also from an audience. All right, we have sunk our teeth into this and ripped a giant pound of flesh off into our mouths and enjoyed it deliciously. That's a very obscure
really
reference.
graphic.
But I was thinking zombies. So where are we going to now? Steph?
Well, this is a show about games, but we can't just talk about news the whole time. We have to give you a little bit of advice as well. So the meta is where we talk about anything new that's been added to games that changes the way we play them or look at them. That could be characters, maps, seasonal events, items, anything like that. And this week, we've nudged a couple of Rainbow Six Siege tragics in Job Gilroy, who won Esports Journalist of the Year in 2018, and Nathan Nachos Justice Lawrence, who has been to the Six Invitational almost as often as Fnatic, as a spectator, and then going to be discussing Siege's most recent edition, Steel Wave.
Steel Wave is Rainbow Six Siege's latest content drop, and it's got something we haven't seen for a little while: 2 good new operators. Attacker Ace might look like a Snyder cut of the Hamburglar, but he's a new hard breacher with Bite because he's nicked the popular AK-12 from the unpopular Fuse. This gives Ace a great shot at fragging to his namesake. His chuckable Selma gadget is a 3-stage buster of reinforced walls. It is a smidge slower than Thermite's charges, and Ace's throw is comparatively limp next to Hibana's pellet launcher. This means, like Maverick, Ace is a secondary choice for hard breaches, but Maverick remains the reigning king for creative expression.
Defender Malusi's gadget, the Banshee, slows down attackers and emits an alarming noise deeper and louder than the fabled brown note. Plus, she's a 3-speed with Legion's amazing T5 SMG, so if the Banshee gadget doesn't give you the full cleanse, she'll be with you shortly to attend to your colonic needs. Adding the Banshee to the mix is going to be a screaming reminder for those with bad time management. So you can expect to see a lot of APAC teams losing on attack when Malusi enters the competitive scene. For casual players, her Inception horn of passive information gathering is insurance against that clown who AFKs through the start of every round. Ace and Malusi breach into the competitive arena when Year 5 Season 3 kicks off later this year, but you can play with them right now.
Man, once a game like that has been out in the wild for a certain amount of time, does it just become like too high a barrier for entry for beginners, would you say, Vandy? Because that is just nuts.
I think it really depends on how complex the game is. So I myself actually wanted to learn Rainbow Six Siege recently after just being like, I don't even know what the hell this game is. Why does it have rainbow in the title? Is it fun? Is it fantasy? Like, I was really intrigued.
It paints a different image of what the game is about, that's for sure.
Exactly. And then I saw a trailer where they released like fluffy unicorn agents, but it was still like something that looked like counter-terrorists. I was like, I don't know what this game is about.
Wow. We just got deep. We went deeper than Steve Zissou. That was The Meta. Now it's time for a segment which will end up being one of the more talked about segments on the wrap-up. It's our Power Rankings, powered by MasterCard. Today we are launching with our top 5 Aussie MOBA players. Now to kick things off at number 5, we have Victor, aka FBI Huang. At 4, we have Tommy, aka Ryoma Lei. Number 3, Mitchell, aka Destiny Shaw. Number 2, we have Damien, aka KPII Choc. And number 1, Anathan, aka Anna Pham. Now, did I pronounce all those correctly?
You did an amazing job with the names.
Is it KPII?
I feel like you just have to guess at some of them.
It could be KP, KPII.
I'm just glad that none
What's
of
the
them...
extra I for?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like names that have numerals in them. That just confuses me.
You don't want to be Slyboy69?
No, definitely not. I think we've all got email addresses which we regret. Looking at that rundown, what do we think?
It was really interesting. So I really liked that 3 Australians from 5 to 3. So we got FBI, Ryoma, Destiny. They recently graduated from the OPL, got picked up internationally for League of Legends, and they've been doing a phenomenal job. So I think they're well deserved of their spots. Destiny, someone that I've had my eye on for a while, ended up winning last year's MEO, so the grand finals. So he definitely got noticed. That's where he got picked up from. Ryoma, again, another powerhouse. FBI is interesting because he always had a friend. It was always FBI and Rogue together. Like those two, it's surprising that they didn't get picked up together. So it's really cool to see that he has been settling in with his team. So he's part of the Golden Guardians roster, and he's just been doing well for himself, even without his buddy Rogue. So really, really cool to see. The other two as well, coming from that background of Dota. And for Anna, I believe he was 18 when he was like able to win $1 million at the Invitational.
I mean, we have great players coming out of Australia, clearly, but is it just the fate of every good player to just get bought by an overseas esports team?
How come you guys aren't on that list, by the way?
I'm not $18 with $1 million.
I'm more of a critic. I do not game competitively.
The sun never sets on gaming and esports news, and looking forward, we're gonna have to take a big guess on the release of Valorant. And this is a huge title. This is one that is gonna shake the very foundations of games like Fortnite, like PUBG. Is it going to sink Overwatch? I mean, this is something that has been huge in the sense that they're actually poaching players from those other games.
I love what I've seen in the game so far. I don't think it's going to kill Overwatch. It's a different audience it's targeting. And that's what people always need to be remembering when they're making these assumptions and these crossovers.
Only time will tell. What do we think about PlayStation versus Xbox?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. So Sony have announced a November release for the PlayStation 5, and I think we can probably assume that the Xbox Series X will come out around the same time. Cyberpunk 2077 has also been delayed to November, so that's going to be a big month for games. And the thing is, when a big launch happens like that, you know, it kind of disrupts the whole slate of game releases because no one wants to release their game around Cyberpunk 2077.
Well, only time will tell if we are right or if we are wrong. That was the look ahead. This is The Breakdown. It's where we take a closer look at gameplay and break it down in all its glory for you. Right here this week, we've got a look at the yet-to-be-released Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remastered. Take a look.
My first project in the industry was Tony Hawk 1 for the PlayStation. And today I'm the design lead for the remaster of Tony Hawk 1 and 2. Everything you remember from the first two games, it's there for everyone to experience. Now that we have the Rebirth, the possibilities of your combos are a whole lot different. You know, you can still do the combos that you used to be able to do in the originals, but now you can mix it up and introduce the Rebirth and the manuals and the acid drop, for example, which is one of my favorites. Someone who skates and plays our game will feel like this is like skaters, right? Like for skaters.
Oh my God.
How do we feel?
This is going to be a nostalgia trip for so many people.
Yeah, and for the original fans of a game like this, where you kind of have that feeling, don't touch it, like don't ruin this.
They literally had it
It's
side
sacred,
by
but-
side. They were like, this was what you had in the 90s. We've just given it the new skin of today.
Yeah.
And that was so cool.
Yeah, and I do love the idea that I can play a game that looks so beautiful and still has the just insane, unrealistic physics of launching a skateboard off the top of a building and not breaking your legs. you
Some
know?
of those scenes were insane.
Now, I don't mean to poke the bear, but there is an example of sometimes where we just prefer they remastered the original. Mario Kart Racing. I do not like the new and improved Mario
Neither.
Kart Racing.
It's just the battle modes just aren't fun.
No.
Remember, I just remember those cool like the block
arenas
and
and
the
the bubbles?
donut one.
Yeah.
Remember that was
Yeah.
Just
sick.
the old classic
What
ones.
happened to that, man?
No.
that was a good
Nintendo, you know what to do. All right, now it's time to go beyond our rather incredible looking set. We've reached out to two of the blokes who've been behind the wheel of elite sports' first huge jump into esports. Supercar superheroes Jamie Whincup and his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen. Now, guys, tell us, what was it like venturing into e-racing? Jamie, let's start with you.
Well, we haven't been back in the car yet to find out whether I'm a better race car driver than what I was before I started e-racing. But jumped in the deep end, had no idea what I was doing. Probably actually at the end of the 10 weeks, I still didn't have any idea what I was doing, but certainly had a good time, great fun. Got a bit competitive for me in the end, but all in all, really enjoyed it.
Getting a bit competitive. That does sound like you, Jamie. Let's face it, you have 119 race wins in supercars. Let's not forget the 7 championships. How many did you win in the esports?
Oh, I won a race. Yeah, which was more than most. There was a reverse grid race and I got lucky. Everyone crashed and all the seas parted ways, and I come through and absolutely Shane Bradbury what's his name?
Stephen Bradbury.
Stephen Bradbury, not Shane, Stephen.
He's an
so
icon.
I did a Stephen Bradbury. Everyone fell apart, and I come through and I got the win. So no, it was good fun.
All right, well, what about you, Shane? It's pretty interesting when you take people at your elite level and then chuck you into the e-racing. Did you think it was harder than you thought?
I sort of did sim racing anyway, but normally for fun. But yeah, it was, as J-Dub said, it got pretty serious there at the end, especially we started going well, so of course you try harder and everyone else does.
Hey Shane, I'm wondering, how has your perspective of esports changed after this whole experience?
Yep, it makes me want to get back to the real stuff even quicker.
I just want to say though, Shane, if you do want to take your esport racing seriously, you will have to get a faster internet connection.
As soon as mum or dad used the internet, everything would start lagging. So
Shane, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. All right, enough fence sitting, enough of the long-winded answers. It is time for Rapid Fire 5. Vandy, Steph, give me the thumbs up or thumbs down on these dominating conversations in the gaming industry right now. Number 1, who is going to win the console war between PlayStation and Xbox? What are we thinking?
No, it's too early to tell.
It's PlayStation for me. I don't even own an Xbox. The last Xbox I bought was the 360. I have a PC.
How dare you? Number 2, Valorant. Player poaching from other competitive games. Is it a great way to get a top player or is it a cheap way to start a league? What do we think?
It's a cheap way to start a league and I don't see why you shouldn't do it.
I think player poaching is as old as sport itself. You can't avoid it and you can't stop it.
Now, number 3, is this a great chance for, Facebook to dominate the online gaming scheme?
I don't know, Facebook as a home for gamers, it doesn't seem likely. It's not authentic enough.
It doesn't matter whatever it is. It has to be like streaming service only, not social media plus streaming service.
Okay, now 4th rapid fire question. The other technology war, outside of consoles, Nvidia versus AMD.
Look, I've watched a lot of side-by-side comparison videos and sometimes I can't even tell the difference between the two, though I do need glasses. I do have a fondness for Nvidia because there's better updates for it.
Basically for me, whoever can offer me better bang for buck, I can change my allegiance. I just, want it to be cheap.
Look at you, flip a coin.
Nah.
Question number 5, we had a peep at the new Tony Hawk remastered version, and with that, do you think we're going to see an influx in action sports titles?
I don't know that it's a genre that's going to be see a massive boom. I think there's always going to be a love for action sports genres, but there's too many other genres of games that people are really jumping onto at the moment that they're just wild about, I think.
I mean, I sure hope so. I really enjoyed SSX, the snowboarding game. It sounds really dodgy. Stop laughing at me.
No, please, by all means.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it definitely, I don't think it's going to capture the market, but there's definitely a place for it.
Okay, that was the thumbs up and the thumbs down of the Rapid Fire 5. Well, thank you so much, Vandy. Thank you so much, Steph. This has been a great show, delivering all the goods to people who are passionate about gaming. Now, if you are one of those people, please head to redbull.com for all of your updates in esports and gaming. And of course, if you enjoyed this show, make sure to like and subscribe. This has been The Wrap Up.